Hi there. Welcome to our video tutorial on how to check in a scheduled volunteer in your Lambs List account. Now that you've created your volunteer departments, assigned volunteers to those departments, and scheduled your volunteers, you're ready to check them in once a service becomes available. Now to do so, we're going to utilize the same tools that are available right now under the registration option of Family Check-in or Self Check-in. However, prior to getting into checking in volunteers, there are a couple of new options that we've set up on Preferences screen that you'll need to know about. The first one is going to be the only allow volunteers to check in as volunteers when they are scheduled. Now what this means is currently if a person is marked as a volunteer and a service becomes active, if they're not scheduled for that service, they're still eligible to be checked in. So if you were to utilize the check-in all option, you would have to choose a room for that volunteer even though they're not scheduled. Now by turning this option on, what's going to happen is that volunteer is going to be marked as not scheduled, and if you were to select the check-in all, it's going to skip that non-scheduled volunteer. I'll give you an example real quick. We'll take a look at a family that we've set up. It's going to be the Jones family. And again, we don't have that option turned on currently, and you'll notice even though Art is not scheduled for this service, he is requesting a room to be selected. That means that if we were to select the check-in all option to check the rest of the family in, we would have to also assign Art to a room. Now the other option would be if we wanted to, we could individually check in each member of the family other than Art. However, if we go back to the Preferences screen and we turn this option on and hit Save, then return to the Jones family, you'll now see that Art is marked as not scheduled. Now what this means is that if we were to come down and select the check-in all option, we would be able to check in the other members of the family and it would just skip over Art. So you'll need to determine with this option if you would like to have the volunteers available to check in for every service or only those that they're scheduled for. Now there is a second option that we've added to the preference screen, and that's going to be the print volunteer labels. The default setting for this is going to have it on, but if you don't want to have the volunteer labels print for volunteers when they check in, you can turn this option off. Now to get back to checking in, one of the nice things with the volunteer management is that you can also check in children. You can assign children to schedule them as volunteers and then check them in. You'll notice that Scooter is a child. You notice the difference between the coloration on the names. The black is going to be children, the gold color is going to be adults. But you'll notice that Scooter is marked as a volunteer and is scheduled to work in the toddlers ministry. Now, where the question may come into play is going to be for those organizations that have multi-services on a Sunday morning. And so for that, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change our services so that we have multiple services available currently. And we'll return to the Smith family. And so what you'll notice is we'll go ahead and try to individually first check in Scooter. And you'll notice that you can choose from the first or the first and second service, just like you did previously. But now with the choosing the first and second service, you'll notice that Scooter is assigned to the children's ministry for the first service, but you also have the option of checking him into his normal class during the second service. Now this option is also available if you wanted to use the check-in all. What's going to happen with the adult volunteers if they're only scheduled for the first service and not for the second? It's again going to show them as not available in the second service, so it's just going to skip them over. But we'll go ahead and select a room here for Skeeter and then utilize the check-in all. We'll select both services. And when we go back to the Smith family, you notice that the family is checked in, everybody's been checked in, so you are able to utilize the check-in all feature and utilize it with multiple services in the volunteer management system. This concludes our video tutorial on how to check in a scheduled volunteer.